The Fox 44 sports team has arrived in picturesque San Antonio, where the 2021 NCAA women's basketball tournament will be held. Filmmakers are choosing Waco not only for its vibrant and modern downtown, but also the ability to change scenery without going very far.
This is six-man football, which means a smaller field, smaller teams, and oh yeah, that adage of you play until you hear the whistle, that only counts for one team tonight.
In the 1950s, small towns and cities across America made makeshift landmarks for wherever Elvis Presley was spotted in their community. In Waco, Elvis was here. Elvis was here. But for most of his time in Waco, Elvis was here at this house on Lasker Avenue. With all the craziness of the fans here in the neighborhood, Elvis would actually have to come in through this back door to get his weekend started. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Waco is the only city where you can ride one of the Blue Duck scooters. 3 law agencies were involved in the 2 chases today that were both identified as separate stolen vehicle incidents. In the report given to the City Council, the museum says it's brought in anywhere from $120 to $170 million to the local economy since they opened their door. Oh no, sorry, I can't. I'm on the air right now. Now, even though most of these places are fully open, they still plan to use to-go cocktails as an extra source of income. Could I get that to go? With Baylor having such a passionate sports fan base, the hockey team is hoping those fans will give them a shot. Yeah, the CDC is saying if you are vaccinated and you're hanging out outside with people you know, like family and friends, you can just ditch the mask. Although these seniors might not get their traditional graduation ceremony, they're not letting the coronavirus rain on their parade. And Noelle, I don't know about you, but me and Madeline's favorite flavor has got to be the Thin Mints. Good morning and thank you for joining us on Fox 44. I'm Cameron Stuart. Killeen police are investigating a triple homicide that happened Saturday afternoon. Today marks 74 years since Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier, becoming an American hero along the way. But before Brooklyn, there was Bell County, and it was right here in Central Texas where Jackie first showed the courage that he would use to change the world.
Well, earlier this month, Elvis Presley would have turned 86 years old, and a big part of his legacy is being kept intact right here in Waco.
And yeah, Noelle, I got a chance to visit the Elvis house. Let me tell you, I was in heaven. It's a place where you can actually stay, where the king himself stayed for many nights. Go take a look. In the 1950s, small towns and cities across America made makeshift landmarks for wherever Elvis Presley was spotted in their community. In Waco, Elvis was here. Elvis was here. But for most of his time in Waco, Elvis was here at this house on Lasker Avenue, which has been refurbished to make it look the way it did in the 1950s, when it was fit for the king.
I think he just liked the stability of a family life, and I think that's why he came here.
During his time stationed at Fort Hood, Elvis Presley needed an escape from his new reality. That's where Dallas DJ Eddie Fidel comes in. Fidel met Elvis in 1956 and, like most of the world, was immediately enamored.
When he met Elvis, he was really impressed by him and said, look, I live in Waco, which is, 100 miles from here. If you're ever in Waco, I'd love to have you to the house.
The king of rock and roll took him up on the offer, and soon Fidel had actually built an addition to the house specifically for Elvis's weekend getaways.
At that time, Elvis's favorite colors were pink and black. So Daddy painted this room just like this for Elvis.
Fidel's daughter Janice was just a little girl at the time, but remembers Elvis's visits to the family home.
In some of our home movies, you can actually see me dancing a little bit like a little child would dance, and Elvis is tapping his feet to the music that was playing at the party that we had.
Janice says his visits were low-key. He'd catch up on sleep, listen to records, play the piano, and enjoy her mother's southern cooking. He even brought some food suggestions of his own.
He introduced us to the peanut butter and banana sandwich. We had never heard of such a thing, and after that, Mom would make those for him.
As you might imagine, it wasn't easy to keep word of Elvis coming to town a secret. With all the craziness of the fans here in the neighborhood, Elvis would actually have to come in through this back door to get his weekend started.
When people in the neighborhood would see black limousines parked out by our house, that was kind of a clue that somebody pretty special was visiting, and then our phone would really ring off the wall, and people would come and gather in the front yard, they would gather in the backyard. It was a frenzy, You know, people wanted to see Elvis. He was the hottest thing on the planet.
After thoughts of selling the house in 2017, Janice and her brother decided to keep it as an Airbnb and give fans the full Elvis experience. They can sleep where he slept, eat where he ate, and, well... This is where Elvis used the bathroom. Janice also claims that she's the only woman in America to wipe off a kiss from the king himself.
Elvis picked up a sweet pickle, took a bite of it, then pulled me to him and kissed me on the cheek. Well, he had sweet pickle lips, okay? They were cold, it was sticky, it was icky, and I just kind of did like this, you know, as a 4.5-year-old might do.
This was no heartbreak hotel for Elvis. He affectionately called it his home away from home, with Eddie Fidel even planting a tree in the front yard for Elvis's mother Gladys after she died in 1958.
So he felt he could trust us, and he loved being around children. He loved being around my mom and dad. You know, they were kind of maybe role models for him in a way.
Looking back on it, Janice can hardly believe it was real.
It was very unique and very special that someone in his position would have come to our home and hung out. It almost seems like a dream to have been a part of that. It was such a different time and place, but what a very special time. And I feel very privileged to be a part of it.
A new professional basketball team is coming to Central Texas next month, and they're providing an opportunity for basketball players and the community. Fox 44's Cameron Stuart, he joins us in the newsroom after meeting the team today. Cameron, what brought them to town?
Well, we know March is all about basketball, and here in Waco, it's set to be one exciting month, with both Baylor programs looking to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. But after the nets are cut down in Indianapolis and San Antonio, it's time for professional basketball in Waco to get its one shining moment.
I want Waco to be that basketball mecca.
It's always been Brandon Little's dream to own and operate a professional basketball team. When the opportunity arose for him to have a team in the 35-team basketball league, also known as TBL, there was only one destination he had in mind.
I wouldn't have it any other way. This is where I was raised, this is where I was born, and so I always wanted to be able to do something like this for the city.
The basketball league gives an opportunity to players to play against NBA caliber competition without having to go overseas like so many professionals do. And for these players, the decision to join the basketball league once they got the opportunity was a slam dunk.
As a kid, you always dream, oh, I'm going to make it to the NBA. And then reality hits, you know. Then it's like, oh, what's the next option? You know, you go to college, you play. Then you see if you want to go overseas. Then, you know, you get down on yourself. But now that the TBL has gave that opportunity to bring professionalism inside the States where you don't have to go travel, I think is very well.
The players come from all over to continue their dream. DeAndre Brown comes from Mississippi, Marvin White comes from Fort Worth, and Josh Williams drove 6 hours from Texarkana to be a part of what the Royals are building.
I'm just excited to be a part of a team again, and excited that we have a group of great guys, great staff, and just that we're going to use this as bigger than basketball and just to help the community.
After all, it's the community that inspired Littles to create this team in the first place, and it's the community that attracted the players to don the Royals uniform.
The Royals is about community, and the Royals is about doing things out, and just the positivity that they're creating a platform for kids, players like me that didn't have the best opportunity,